Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So I've been provoked heavily during this whole Iran conflict thing. And they're trying to make it so that my statements seem to line up with Iranian propaganda. I don't work for Iran. I'm not on Iran's side. I've said already that I don't want anyone to get hurt, but righteousness and justice must come first. And I don't feel that Iranians are being treated fairly. But again, I'm not on their side. I'm not a Muslim. I do submit to God, but I don't consider any organized religion at this time um, that has two or more people, to keep it simple, to be doing the right thing. I don't consider that I don't consider them to be groups that are doing the right thing. And so you see how they're even making it harder for me to speak. And one way they're provoking me is that they made it so my skin color is like a pinkish purple. And they've admitted that they're the ones who are causing it to change that color. And they've admitted that they're the ones who've caused it to change that color. My parents don't have that color. Okay, I see other people here in Michigan, they don't have that color, no matter what race they are, no matter what hue of skin. But I'm the one who looks that way. And also, they've changed my face to look different. But as you can see in that one video, you can still tell that it's me. But it looks drastically different. Matter of fact, I'm gonna release a picture for this video, right? Where you can see me when I was about maybe 34, about 10 years ago. And I look very, very different. But they've also edited that picture, and they added red to the lips in that picture. And every day, because I drink a lot of cranberry juice, because they're keeping me from drinking other things, it stained my lips red, but it stays red longer than it's supposed to. It stays red like all day, every day. I wake up in the middle of the night, what have you. So they're doing this kind of racist things to provoke me, and they're trying to make it seem like I'm taking, sides that I'm not taking, we'll say, because I don't want people to take me out of context. So I have to watch the context. I have to remind people they're changing my voice. I'm sickly a lot of times because the stuff they're putting in the food and the air, it is way out of control. And I've noticed, obviously over the years that the intelligence agencies, they don't investigate these things effectively. There are hundreds of people who are complaining about being targeted by law enforcement and the government using, they're using advanced technology, and law enforcement, they just helped them do it. So I think that the vast majority of Americans right now know that they're not being treated fairly by their government, and they know that Iran is not being treated fairly. I'm sure that there's a bunch of criminals in Iran and the government, no doubt. That's how governments are. Again, I'm not on their side. I put God first. And when I lived in Morgan Hill, there was no Iranian consulate or anything like that. But ironically, I believe it's an Iranian consulate that's somewhere here in the Southfield area. And that is not a coincidence. So it's like they're trying to frame me as being an asset of X, Y, and Z, right? And one of these females that they planned in my life was, of Iranian descent. She was part Iranian, part Pakistani. And I'm pretty sure she, doesn't work for Iran or something, but I think that they go through the motions of kind of trying to present things a certain way to kind of present a false narrative. And some years back, they were trying to turn me into like a radical Muslim. And I seen this guy who did this shooting before I was aware of the Austin shooting, and that it came out in the news that this person had some kind of shirt or sweater on, or it was a hooded sweater, right? I wear hooded sweaters every day. Okay, that's what I'm able to wear, and they do things to my clothes. It said property of Allah, or I believe it was. Okay, and if you look at the person looked like a zombie or something, and they've changed the way I look to try to make it so I look like a zombie, and we're putting out this propaganda with the zombie movies for a long time, and people were saying that, hey, they're foreshadowing, right? Predictive programming. They use some kind of term like that, and they said that they're foreshadowing in regards to events that are to come. And we see that they talk about shadow psychology and chaos magic and occult cut-ups and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of evidence that shows you that that they used, they used the kind of boy crowd wolf effect. They themselves planted people out there to put out disinformation and to mix it with real information, and then they say, "Hey, you sound like a conspiracy theorist." I think by now most people get that there is a great conspiracy, and that people who are kind of afraid, people who are firmly their assets, they deny that. But people who are honest and really, really brave, they admit that. And then some people are planted by these people. A lot of, in my experience, the vast, vast majority of people that talk about a great conspiracy are clearly government assets. Clearly, I can't think of a single person I could say who is honestly not. I've gone way over time, so let me wrap this up here. Again, I'd like to remind you that I want there to be a ceasefire. I want people to rally for my war on poverty plan. I don't want people to do shootings and stuff like that, especially if they're for the government. I want them to rally to me. And let's pinpoint what is precise together. When it comes to these side issues, I'm following God's plan where it matters most. One of the main martial art principles is prioritization. And I find that, I'm the one thinking the most straight, even after all this fumes and poisons, overkill, and that God chose me, and under no circumstances are people to try to cheat me out of my right to lead. Thank you.